Welcome back to the Hilton True Wealth Podcast, the show where we explore the ideas, strategies, and conversations that help people build meaningful, lasting wealth, not just financially, but in life. I'm Mark Miller, manager of the Hilton Family Office and CEO of Hilton Tax and Wealth. Today, we're joined again by my partner, Jay Bradley Hilton. He's the grandson of Conrad Hilton, the famed hotelier and philanthropist. He's following his grandfather's footsteps, both in business and as a visionary. He's not only been my partner, but a trusted friend for well over a decade. Today's conversation with Jay Bradley centers on Hilton's investment in cutting-edge technology, a topic he knows a lot about, so let's jump right in. So, Brad, good to talk to you again. I know we've had quite a few conversations, and I hope everybody's getting some real benefits and learning some things throughout the conversations we've had.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you, so obviously you're very involved in the Hilton Family Office, and we're doing a lot of different things together. But what are some of the opportunities that you're working on personally relating to technology?
Sure. No, thanks for that question. So, technology-wise, I've got my hands in a lot of different projects, but technology is, a big passion of mine. So let's start with graphene, right? So that's a big game changer for humanity, and I've got my finger on the pulse of what's going on with that. So graphene comes from graphite. It's a one-atom thick layer of graphite that's a perfect hexagonal lattice of carbon atoms, just pure carbon atoms. And with that, just this one atom thick layer is 250 times stronger than steel. It's basically almost superconductive. It can be transparent, as clear as a diamond. It can be, strong as a diamond, and it's bendable, flexible, stretchable. It's about almost 5 to 10 different properties all in one material, and it's known as a two-dimensional material, whereas all the materials that we use today that have got us here are all one-dimensional materials. So imagine a glass pane being bulletproof, but also simultaneously being a solar panel.
Wow.
So it can have these multiple properties and be super lightweight. It's the most lightweight, past carbon fiber, all those things, and the strongest. So it's been really expensive to produce up to this point, but we've got some technologies and patents to bring that down and simplify it and make graphene from biomass, creating a circular economy for the globe to create this next generation of material. Now, this material will be the replacement of silicone, not for everything, but especially in technology, in that the properties of graphene will be anywhere from 100 to 1,000 times what we can do with silicone. And so we're entering into a new age, right? So we live in the silicone era right now, and every new age is defined by a new material, or most of the time. And so this next age will be the graphene age. And so we're headed in there now, so it's very important. It's very exciting, and this is really the year it starts to take off. It's been under development from its discovery about 20 years ago, and it's finally getting ready to be scalable, but now we need to be able to mass produce it and bring the price down. It's super expensive, way more than gold and platinum and those kind of things right now, just because of the expensive, cost to make it.
Right.
But we've got plans to make it about as close as we can to graphite, which is a commodity out there right now.
Yeah, that's one of the things, and I think the analogies you gave me was like right now they have the Kevlar to stop the bullets to protect, but tell the listeners what graphene could do to even help that technology.
Sure. So Kevlar is heavy, right? It's a very durable material, and it, has these fibers that, trap a bullet when it's coming in. What graphene does, if you put a one atom thick layer of graphene on the front end of that, you can use a lot less Kevlar, so making it lighter weight. But the graphene, what it will do is disperse the energy of the bullet when it hits and disperse that energy sideways, right? So it'll deform the graphene, but it's really, really hard to puncture through it. Although it'll bend and stretch into it, so it could still kill you if it was just, graphene. But by having the Kevlar there, it's more of the pad, I guess you would say, instead of the catcher. And so basically you could end up with much lighter weight armor. And, this material could be used to put around airplanes and things of that nature, for military use and things of that nature to help make the planes more bulletproof. So that's just one area that it could be applied. Others are for police forces. I've seen some things that people are working on using graphene, such as it almost looks like an umbrella, but it's more of a shield that you could origami pack it into like your wrist, and it would be like your Captain America, where you'd hit a button and you could pop up a shield that can block bullets. That's super lightweight. You would hardly even know it's there. And so I've seen that. I've touched it. I've felt it. And some other armor plating, it's just amazing how lightweight it is, because it never feels like you're picking up anything almost.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
And you can make thread, graphene threads out of this. So what it'll mean for the textile industry, just to have more, material that you can work with in a technology way in all sorts of ways. So imagine your jacket that you're wearing being, potentially partway bulletproof, but also you could heat it or cool it on demand, right? With little energy. So that kind of technology can, go into clothing. So that's on the material level, and on other levels. And I'm sure, like myself, there's a lot of people that are into AI, blockchain, those type of technologies. So I'm going heavy on those areas as well. And, that field is changing almost daily.
You mentioned something about with graphene to me about a car.
Oh, yeah.
About being able to make a car out of graphene?
Yeah, I'm involved with the next generation car company, right? This is, I hope I can say this out loud, but FedEx is taking on this car company to replace their entire fleet. And it's their way of going electric, but in a way that's going to work. Right now, with the current way the cars are built, manufactured, the way they drive, and the infrastructure to charge them, everything is not sufficient enough for a replacement for FedEx. And so this vehicle will be that. And what it is, and it's really cool. Let me just describe it to you real fast. Yeah. So imagine a car. It's pretty much the same as the first cars they made. It still has an axle, a transmission, tires, a steering wheel, all those parts of suspension. Well, we got rid of most of that, right? We kept the tires and the wheels, but we got rid of everything else. All the drivetrain, the transmission, the axle, the suspension and the motor are all now crammed into the wheel. And we made a smart wheel, an AI-enabled smart wheel. And what this smart wheel has is 5 degrees of motion that each one's independent, but they sync up and they're controlled. But imagine manufacturing a car now is really just putting together the body, the frame, the battery, and the computer. And then the real heart of the car, the engine, the suspension, the thing that makes the car go, are just packed into the wheel now. And the wheel's smart. So you can't feel bumps in it. You can't roll it over. It can sense, a rollover scenario and move that center of gravity and adjust the wheels to where it's stuck to the ground. It can crawl its way out of situations, like if you spin out your tires into mud or in sand. Instead of just spinning, it'll actually put one wheel in front of the other and crawl out.
This all just blows my mind, because it sounds like you're literally describing a science fiction movie.
You would think so. And the nice thing is, since we got rid of all the heavy parts and made the motor, very flat, we got rid of all the magnets, and so we were able to miniaturize it basically to fit it into the wheel. 550 foot-pounds of torque per wheel that it'll go in. These are made right now for a business-to-business model, for like a FedEx or like a Uber, DoorDash. Those will be our first customers, that entire industry, while we build out the infrastructure for our charging technology, which is also revolutionary, right? So right now, you could maybe charge 2 or 3 cars on one, basic circuit. We have the ability to do that at 100 at a time. So we could charge 100 cars at a time off of one circuit. And then we have a different way that we're charging the cells of these batteries, in that we're able to collect the data and manage each cell by cell. So not only do we have a better, more efficient, faster, easier way to charge, We also collect all the data for every cell that's in that battery bank. So it'll be very data driven. So the smart wheel technology is second to none, but it also lowers the price of the vehicle because you got rid of all these heavy weight parts that
stuff
have a
that
lot of
goes with the
logistics
car.
associated to them, and manufacturing and things of that nature. So at the end of the day, it helps lower it. Now, where graphene comes in is going to be a solid state graphene battery, which we already have the technology to do, but it's marrying those two together to where you can go 1,000 miles on a 20-minute charge with a battery that can't catch on fire or blow up. It basically takes care of every problem that's currently a concern with the current battery technologies that we use. Wow. And so it's a lot safer of an alternative. It's more powerful. So there's that. Then there's, the frame, the body, the tires, the windshield. You can make all those components out of graphene. Right now it'd be super expensive to do, but once we're able to lower the price, this is something that we really want to do. We want to come up with the world's first graphene car. And usually as technology
advances, the price comes down.
Yeah, the price comes down. We need to have this materials price come down. As soon as it is on par with other materials, we basically want to build the fastest, strongest, smartest, most fun car that's possible. And so we want a pure graphene car. And if we had a pure graphene car, you could probably pick it up with one hand from the back. Yeah. But it's a car that won't break. It'll be so rigid and solid that you couldn't dent.
And it sounds like light too.
Light. That's what I mean. You could pick it up.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah. So it's just amazing. So the key is going to be keeping it stuck to the ground.
Yeah. When you first told me about graphene and it kind of explained, I just can't really grasp it 100%.
Sure.
I invite everybody to go online and do some research on it, but I was like, oh, okay. I didn't really 100% grasp it, and then I went through the car wash.
Yeah.
And it says powered by graphene, and I was like, okay, that's one of the uses.
Well, coatings and paints are definitely one of the first things that the world will benefit from regarding graphene. So imagine a color changing paint that you can dial up whatever color you want it to be, but it's also self-healing, and potentially in the future be solarized, or it could be providing the energy for the car from the outside while you're driving it, just to make it that much more efficient. All those things are possible. Or if you wanted to make something bulletproof, like a wall, you could just spray on kind of a texture coating to it and make it very rigid and solid, and to where it's impenetrable.
Much better technology than we have now for any of those types of things.
Yeah, and those are just a few things. We've identified probably 55,000 different products that will be embedded with everyday products. It'll be as pervasive as oil is in our life today. Right. It'll make everything better, lighter, stronger, faster, and electrified all at the same time.
Yeah, that's exciting. And so I know also you've been doing a lot of things in the health space, which happens to be an area that I'm very interested in, a lot of longevity things.
Sure.
And I'm kind of a little nut about a few things.
I just had a birthday, man. I get it.
Yeah. When you get to a certain age, when I got about 50, Brad, I started thinking, okay, wait a second. Now I need to get a little smarter about my health. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be here. I want to live. I want to see my kids graduate from college. I want to see my grandkids maybe graduate from college. We'll see. Yeah. But you start thinking about these things. So it's an area, and I know that you have a passion about longevity too, and kind of the latest technologies that are out there right now.
I do. So I'm also coming up with my play into hospitality, since I come from a hospitality background, is creating an experiential company that we're going to call the Jay Bradley Experience. And so that's going to be packaging, world-class experiences for people, and basically creating memories they'll never forget. That's kind of the mission of the company, is that side of it. And as part of it, we'll have the Jay Bradley Health and Wellness model. And in that model, here's what you get. An experiential health and wellness center. So it's something 99.9% of people have never seen before. It is going to be really amazing. Just the spaces that you walk into, and the environment and the kind of hospitality that we want to deliver. But when it comes to the actual treatments and devices that we'll use in this health and wellness environment, I'm going to talk about our scanner first. So there's a new scanner coming. It's a CAT scan, an MRI, and an X-ray all in one. It's a single sensor camera that's, doing this imaging. And so you can get imaged your entire body in 18 seconds. I can have a full image of your body in color. I can see down to the nerves in your brain. I can remove down skin, fascia, muscle, down to your bones, and be able to see the marrow in your bones. And so it's just fascinating in that it can be so fast. And the data that you get with this is pure, meaning every pixel counts. With MRIs and things of that nature, they're doing it in slices. So think of those slices as pixels. And the in-between layers, it's made-up data. They're just interpolating what should be there based on the 2 frames before it, or the one before and after it. And so that half the data in these images are made up. Ours is 100% pure, and that's why ours is so fast, because we're just doing a single image rather than slices. And so our resolution is 16,000 times that of these other devices. And it's fast, 18 seconds and you're scanned. Within 40 more seconds, I have you completely rendered, meaning I can now show you in an augmented reality way your body, and we can go do a tour on the inside and look for problems.
Right.
And the cool thing is, if you find a problem, we can mark it. We can put a marker on it. And once we're done with that, and I tell you, well, Mark, sorry, you got this mass on your lung. It's not cancerous. It's probably a lymphoma or something, but we need to take it out. You can immediately do a practice surgery on the person to where you actually have a scalpel in your augmented reality. You slice and the gap opens up, and you're looking for the best surgery pathway to get to where the problem is to take it out.
Wow.
So all this can be performed in a doctor's office. We don't need the helium. We don't need the energy that current CAT scans take. It doesn't require special technicians, and so it doesn't have the long wait time. The reason they have wait times is because they can only do so many scans a day. If they could do a lot more, they would. With our machine, it's pretty much unlimited. The other good news is our business model is we don't want to compete with all the other ones, and we don't want hospitals and stuff to throw the old equipment out. They can just supplement what they already have, and we'll give it to these hospitals that can at least do, we might change this in our business model, but right now I think it's about 10 scans a day. We can give it away for free because the data is so valuable. Right. The other part that we want, we'll get to this subject probably in another podcast, but is data privacy and things of that nature. We really want to turn that over to people and have people choose what they want to share. And if they do, you get paid for it. Right. So we want people to benefit from their sharing of information versus the Googles and the Facebooks of the world. So, so that's one piece of what we have, which is just amazing. It seems like it comes straight out of Star Trek. Another thing we have, this is more of a treatment. It's not a drug. It's a way to recalibrate your pancreas to beat that of a 17-year-old. That alone takes care of your entire biomechanical system. And when I say everything, it was designed to eliminate diabetes in people, because the doctor that invented it lost his daughter to diabetes and spent, his life looking for a cure. And along his path, he was definitely, with the device he has, it's a microdosing device that basically microdoses insulin into you. He thought there might be something with microdosing it versus giving people mass doses that would be, have a better healing effect. What he found while adjusting the equipment while he was doing it, that every time he made an adjustment, the pancreas would react to the adjustment. And it gave him a thought. He's like, every time I make this adjustment on here, the pancreas is reacting to it. What if I went and got a picture of the perfect pancreas, it's like EKG signals, and fed that to the device and had it pulse the insulin into you with a pulse and rhythm that's that of a 17-year-old or maybe a baby's pancreas. And basically your pancreas wakes up to it and dances with this. So it's like music for it. And so we're able to train your pancreas to get back to what it was when you were 17. Well, what does that do for you? Everything. It reestablishes your metabolism to where you can metabolize. Turns out, I'm not a doctor, but I, understand this, that, once you get to the point in your life where you can't process the carbs that you're consuming, your system gets gummed up. And hence you get diseases over time, and everybody's a little different. And one thing leads to another, and your whole metabolism or your whole metabolic system gets out of sync.
And that could be generated directly from the pancreas then.
That's all. The pancreas is the ultimate entire body synchronizer. And so what it does is once it starts, beating in that of a younger pancreas, it starts producing, it basically breaks through your insulin resistance, right? Which all older people are getting that, and it's really hard to lose weight, and sucks your energy out, and women especially are affected by this, and you get the belly, and it's just really tough. Wow. I have that, a little bit myself, and I'm a borderline diabetic myself, and I'm about to go under treatment. I forewent my treatment, and my partner's going under the treatment right now. And so I monitored him from week to week. He needed a little bit more than I did right now. And it's just amazing to see the results that he's had. And so on.
It's funny that you say that about the pancreas, because I think there's a reason when you said, it's so important in your body. Is like when you hear about somebody that gets pancreatic cancer. Yeah. It's not a good thing.
Not a good thing.
Because it's attacking
such
an important
synchronizer.
part.
And so the very first thing that happens after your insulin resistance gets busted through, which could be in the first or second treatment. Yeah. And these are 3-hour treatments, and you just do like 2 per week, for maybe 10 weeks. Everybody's a little different. It depends what you're trying to fix. But in wound care, at some point we'll show the audience some pictures. I can show you a picture of a half missing foot that basically regrows in 16 weeks without a stitch, without a drug, just by reactivating the pancreas and having your body self-heal. That's what it does. But it not only does it for a case like this and these severe diabetic wound things, but it also affects your brain in that same kind of way. So any kind of diseases that you may have picked up, and we're talking Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, autism, potentially even mental illness, drug addiction, those kind of things. They're all brain chemistry oriented. Well, this reorients all your chemistries. It improves your nerves and your neuroplasticity, and your awareness, your energy, everything goes up. So as soon as it fixes your liver first, even if you have a cirrhosis liver, we're talking, it completely repairs that. But once your liver starts producing the right enzymes and they go throughout your body, the ultimate result of that is it fixes your liver, fixes your kidneys, everything starts working better. It starts healing things that are broken. And the ultimate thing that it does is lights up your mitochondria with oxygen. And what that does is improve your intercellular health and boosts it to almost 100%. And that's what gives you the self-healing capabilities, all from this simple treatment. It's not hard. It's not hard to understand. We've treated thousands and thousands of patients, or the doctor has, and it's gone through 6 clinical trials, 100% effectiveness rate, no side effects. Wow. So, it's a game changer. And I'm fortunate enough to have come in contact with him and been tracking with him over the last 10 years. And everything's ready to go. We just want to redesign the machine right now. The machines cost about $10,000 a piece. We want them to cost around $500 a piece because we want to get this out there in masses. And so how that relates to the Jay Bradley experience health and wellness model is when you come to visit us, you're going to walk out a new person.
Oh, absolutely. And we'll talk about the Jay Bradley experience here in a second. And so by the way, just want to make a caveat here. We're not giving any medical advice. Let me ask you about that therapy you were talking about for the pancreas and everything. Is that something that might be, if you get Parkinson's or Alzheimer's or something, is it something that could possibly reverse that?
Yes.
Or is it more really?
Well, at least improve it, right?
Yes, improve it,
I won't say it cures, although that's what we're saying. I'm just not going to say it. But it can dramatically improve, let's put it that way. So, the one Parkinson's patient, and I heard the voice recording of this, so it was interesting. The doctor had, they were just trying it on a Parkinson patient for the first time. And he was really bad. All he could do was stutter, could hardly spit out a word, would take him 5 minutes to say a sentence. So he's just struggling. And, that's like jail for people. That's like your own internal jail hell that you can't communicate. And you're trying to get the words out, but they won't come out of your mouth. I can understand why that would be so frustrating for those people. And so 2 days after this treatment, after the first treatment, the guy calls the doctor, and he can't shut up because he's able to say words now, and they're not trapped anymore. And he's crying and laughing, and it's just really amazing to witness,
That's
that
incredible.
even just through a recording, and it kind of hits me in the heart right now, even just expressing it and talking about it because of the difference it made in his life, and he was expressing it.
Yeah. It's amazing.
It also
stuff.
has impact on cancer, and I'm not claiming that this cures cancer. It hasn't been tried as a standalone for cancer, but alongside other treatments that aren't working, such as radiation, chemo. They've treated cancer patients that are stage 4 and it's spreading to their heart, and you can see it in their body that they have a very limited time. They're not going to make it through the year kind of. And so the doctors were pretty much, writing them off and decided, well, since our treatments aren't working, let's try this treatment alongside it. And she's now 2 years in remission. And she does this every 2 weeks just because she never wants to see that side of herself again.
Sure.
So you don't have to get it done through your lifetime that much. You just want to figure out what your pancreas needs to do to stay at that 17-year-old beat. And so, my guess is that, every 2, 3, 6 months, you'll want to get a 3-hour booster on this to keep that pancreas going. But if we can turn healthcare into just managing just that, that's going to have an impact on insurance, on doctor's visits, hospitalizations.
You bet.
Not that we want to put people out of business. We want healthy, thriving people that can live a disease-free life.
Sure.
Now, the other side of this coin is we've been talking about all the patients that can help that are already in despair and have deep problems. So imagine giving this to a healthy young person. Let's say their metabolism, let's just say they hit 20, 25 years old. They haven't ever had any serious diseases, but your pancreas is going to slow down a little bit, so your metabolism is not going to work as good, and you're going to start building up to that insulin resistance. And bottom line, just not being able to process your carbs as efficiently as you used to.
Right.
But if we could maintain it and start giving somebody a treatment, then we're talking about serious longevity, right? And so if we get them while they're young, and we only know this through expert doctors that have looked at this. They're thinking what's going to happen is, people could potentially live 150, 200 years old. I don't know that to be a fact, but that's what I'm being told.
No medical advice, right?
Because this does what it does, and it's affecting people in this way, and it's able to heal the diseases. This helps you prevent you from getting a disease in the first place. If you get it while you're young, it's going to affect how you age, right? So my guess is by the time you're 100, you'll look like you're 50.
Yeah.
Now,
what's incredible?
Do people want to live that long?
I don't know. We'll
young
see.
people
We'll
think that they do right
yeah.
now because I go around and ask people.
Yeah.
There's a certain age where people are ready to go. They don't want to reverse time. They don't want to extend it. They're just ready to go. And once somebody's ready to check out, there's
but if somebody
no
gets
turning that around.
The whole thing, and I kind of used to follow a doctor that was about, hey, all the longevity stuff that you do is really about your is really about when you look at it about the last 10 years of your life. Yeah. Do you want to spend it in and out of hospitals, or do you want to have a good quality life for that last 10 years? Sure. And when you get to that period of time, that 10 years can be extremely exhaustive if you're just in and out of the hospital the whole time. So longevity.
And not just for the patient either. Yeah. We're talking whole family units are affected by family members' illnesses. So
it's a whole ecosystem.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And, hospitals can't be innovative because they're under the guise of insurance and insurance models and corporate direction. So they're pretty much locked into only being able to do what's in the book and not very outside of that. And so health and wellness clinics that are outside of the system that can provide these treatments even without insurance and make it very affordable is great. I'm targeting the luxury experience-based model, so mine's going to be a little bit more expensive to receive these, but we'll give them in a less and less clinical kind of environment where it's very relaxing.
What's so cool about it, we're investing in all of these things in Hilton. And these are cutting-edge technologies. Yeah. So talk a little bit about, kind of wrapping things up here a little bit, talk a little bit about the Jay Bradley experience a little bit more. You've talked about the health and wellness, but what are going to be some of the other possible experiences in the Jay Bradley experience?
Yeah, well, just coming from the hospitality industry and kind of really understanding what drives people and what makes a difference in somebody's stay, right? That's what it comes down to. And here in America, we've lost hospitality altogether almost, right? There's a few little spots here and there where you'll find it, but you rarely get to experience it here anymore from the way it used to be when I grew up. My address on my birth certificate was from the Shamrock Hilton. So I was born into not just the hotel business, but in a hotel.
In a hotel.
And so my experience as a little kid
had no choice but
I had
working
no
there
choice,
at some point. Yeah.
But when I started being able to walk and things like that, I just wanted to explore. But I got to explore things where everything was at a grand scale because I'm only like 3 feet tall,
Right.
And so my memories are of this big scale of things, and I really enjoy thinking about things of that nature. But it was really the people that I was watching and their happiness. Like the Shamrock Hilton had the world's biggest pool, right? It was so big you could have skiers, like 5 skiers skiing behind a boat, and they'd put on these shows. Had a 10-meter diving board. The deep end was 25
That's a
feet
big pool.
deep. It was enormous.
Were you born in that pool? I just am checking.
No, but I did finally work up the nerve to jump off the 5-meter board at one time. Yeah, man, that was scary. Just growing up in that environment, or my early portions of my life before we moved to our house, was really interesting because I got to see people coming through that front door, seeing them interact with our bellman, the front desk, and just kind of watching people and how they interact and the smiling, and everybody was always thrilled to go see the pool and
the positive side of hospitality.
The positive side of things. I mean, there was a lot of traffic there. I mean, it was an environment, and I really liked it. I knew something was happening was special, even though I didn't really recognize it at the time. As I got into the hospitality business, I saw it. But one of the things I learned is that there's, in the hotel business in particular, there's 16 and a half times per day that you can make somebody's day. Any employee can say something to a guest that, gives them a memory that they're going to repeat, a positive one, a fun one, whatever it might be. As long as they repeat it and tell somebody else, there's a good chance they might tell that story over and over again for a long time.
Sure. And
there was studies done on this, right? So guest experience came down to, one, you have this opportunity 16 and a half times a day that 99% of the time gets missed, right? People just don't know how to generate, I guess, the experience for the guest to give them that boost, right? So everything has to be spawned by the guest, whether it's going to be positive or negative. And I'll give you an example. If you come down to the front desk and you tell me that, this charge shouldn't be on your bill, and I tell you I'm not going to remove it, I think it's really yours, and argue with you about it and make your experience really bad and not satisfy you, you're going to tell all your friends not to stay at Hilton. They ripped me off. They did this, they did that. Well, if they are persistent about it and upset about it, that upset can last 20 years. And they're just spreading that information. And that can cost you, over a 10-year period of time, $10 million per person that has that negative experience on a corporation like Hilton. Yeah. And this was when Hilton was smaller, a lot smaller. Now, on the positive side, it's the opposite. You make somebody's day, which an example of that, somebody calling down for a wake-up call. If you figured out a special way to wake up that person outside a computer calling you, telling you to wake up, you took a personal interest in them, found out what their favorite song was, and wake them up with that, it's a memory they'll never forget. And they'll tell that story over and over again, which is actually an experience that happened that I learned about. That kind of thing, from a behind-the-scenes marketing perspective, results in a $10 million uplift.
So is that what you're wanting to install in the Jay Bradley experience?
Yes. So with the Jay Bradley experience, we want to create everlasting memories for our guests. And it's not a hotel. It's more of us packaging experiences of wide varieties for people to go out on adventures and or corporate retreats, or a family vacation, but they want it to be extra special. And so we'll have the ability to customize things. But, let's say on the luxury side, you might need a yacht, a private jet, a Michelin star, chef to serve you, and then, your limos and transportation. we want to take care of that and, just really provide all those service as a top-notch thing and look for those opportunities to add to their experience from a human standpoint that can make that difference of creating that memory, right? So that guest, that hospitality and how it's done and how you follow up and treat the guest are all going to be, so it's a high touch point business. Let's just put it that way. Very high touch point. And so that's what we're developing. And then, of course, we want to steer all these people that are interested in longevity or health and wellness to our, that part of the model. Because we want to get to as many people in our health and wellness model as we can, because we truly believe that we can live in a disease-free world, in a world that, everybody breathes fresh air all the time, hence graphene and the different things that we can do with it. So that's what I'm really after, is those things. And it's all driven by an education curriculum that I made a promise to get to the world from an amazing teacher, like a TED Talk type teacher, but, this is more of a Pope Talk type teacher, meaning she goes out to the Vatican and meets with the Pope about this curriculum, and she developed it over 40 years. Wow. And she assigned me to get it out to the world. And I looked at it and I couldn't believe she picked me to do this, but I said, yes, I will do this. But what I'll need to do it, the technology and everything else doesn't exist yet. So I'll have to wait till it's here before I can really do it. So right now, I seed it in the brains of everybody who's interested and that matters to help make that a reality. So it could be 3, 5, 10 years before I really can begin figuring out how we're really going to roll this out. I've got an idea about how to do it, but it makes little children into geniuses, gives them that universal wisdom access. And it only happens between the time you're born and 7.5 years old. After you're 7.5 years old, you just lose that ability. Sure. And she cracked the code on however that's done. And now it's my responsibility to get that to the world. And so the world is changing, right? In all sorts of ways, all at the same time. In this next generation, there's something really interesting happening.
And we're so happy to work with you and partner with you to be able to help you continue and further your vision. And it's just exciting. It's exciting times for sure.
I'm glad to have you as a partner. The things that we've been able to do up to here, it's all been kind of part of all the puzzle pieces to get to here.
Absolutely.
Right. And these are game-changing moments, not just for us personally and what's going to happen, but even outside of us, the amount of technologies and good things that are coming, in health and wellness and all these areas is fantastic. But, as a human species, we've got to adjust our thinking too. Yeah. We're too consumed with screens and things of that nature.
Absolutely.
And it's keeping our time away from what really matters, which is connecting with one another.
Keeping our time away from the real vision. And that's ultimately to change the world through prosperity.
It is.
Through things that we do.
I actually have you nailed it on the head. I've got a mission for, the Hilton Family Office, which is world peace through prosperity.
Absolutely.
And that's it. That's the bottom line.
That's what the mission is here. So let me give you to wrap up, let's give me some rapid fire questions.
Sure.
Here. Are you ready?
Give it to me.
Okay. AI or blockchain, which will have a bigger impact?
Well, they'll both have a giant impact. They both go hand in hand. They can benefit from each other, but AI. AI will keep increasing its intelligence, where blockchain will just remain blockchain.
Oh, great. Excellent. And biggest mistake entrepreneurs make?
Not knowing when to pivot. I'd say that's probably the big one. Not establishing the reputation and relationships necessary to set yourself up to have access to the capital you're going to need to grow your business.
That's excellent. That's very good. One book every entrepreneur should read.
I'm going to take this one personally just because I know the impact it's had on certain people's life, and that's my grandfather's books, and it's called Be My Guest. It used to be available in every hotel and every drawer, everywhere, and you could take it with you. They don't do that anymore, but you can still get that book. Sure. But it's so inspirational, especially for an entrepreneur, to understand his story and how he developed Hilton Hotels.
I have not read that book yet, and I feel bad.
Yeah, so people almost treat it like a Bible. They carry it with them, and I've seen tattered versions of it that, just can't understand why somebody would actually carry it around, but they actually do. Wow. You actually know one of them.
That's awesome. That is awesome. One technology that will change the world.
Well, the one I just talked about. There's a couple, but one that's in hand is this one, for the health and wellness that can, handle the entire metabolic system. I think that is the big game changer because, even if I told you technology is going to change something and it's going to make you wealthy and all those kind of things, it's not going to mean anything unless you're healthy. And so the health side, I'd have to benefit that. On the technology side, of course, it's going to be AI.
Okay, awesome. And then last, one leadership lesson that we can learn from the Hilton family.
Wow. I go by a lot of what my grandfather said, and it's what our foundation's driven by, is that, don't let anybody, wander in destitute. Always be there for your brother and help them out. And so we believe that, purely, but I would say, just to kind of sum it up, is go out of your way to connect with one another, because that's what we're here for. It's not about the technology. It's not about the money. The real wealth is in the heart, and it's about expression and the words that you use and the meaning that you provide in those words. That's what adds meaning to life.
Phenomenal, man. That well said, well said. That brings us to the end of today's episode of Hilton True Wealth. If you want to learn more about topics relating to building your wealth, tax planning, cutting-edge tech, and family office services, we're here to help. Be sure to follow us wherever you get your podcasts so you'll never miss an episode, and give us a like or a review. And if you're curious to learn more about your wealth, tune in every Tuesday for new insights and special guests. If you found value in what you heard today, share it with someone who might benefit too. For more insights, resources, and to get a free copy of our book, Hilton Wealth, How to Invest Like an American Dynasty, visit us at hiltonwealth.com. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep building your true wealth.